So, you're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. Pete Dunne is back. I just want to say you're welcome because we've been calling him Pete Dunne for months. I
think I've been calling him Pete Dunne since
that.
he was. I think at least I've been calling him Pete Dunne since they gave him the name Butch.
I had still been calling him that, but then I would say Butch because it was like, it was, that was the name they had him going by. But then I think once it kind of ran its, and once it ran its course, that was when I was like, all right, he's not Butch anymore. Like, this is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So we see a video for Pete where he is sitting in a coffee shop and he is greeted by Tyler Bate, who was just brought up to SmackDown, and they're just talking about what has happened to Pete. Like, he's lost himself and he needs to reach back in and be who he used to be and who everyone knew him as. And he said Tyler was saying that he wants to bring back the British strong style, which I was like, man after my own heart. And he wants to team up with Pete. And he says, like I said, you need to bring back who you used to be, blah, blah, blah. And even alluding to like becoming a name. Like, what is that name? And that was when the video zooms in on his face and ends, where that was where you were like, Pete Dunne is back. So I was very excited for him.
I'm not going to mention anything you just said. My only additional comment I'll make on this is I would have liked this to be the ending of the backstage segment, whatever you want to call it. So when they zoom in on his face, right, and then he's just thinking, he's in hard thought, and then it just cuts black. The cinema mind I have, because I have connects in Hollywood, not a big deal, champ. My thought would have been, you gotta tease the old Pete Dunne theme song, because one, like, not like intensely, but just like little beats. Like, there was, because I was trying to hear, because I'm like, oh, did they do that? So I went back and rewound it to try to hear, but all you could hear was just the what, oh my god, catering. Thank you. You just heard the catering back noise, whatever. But I would have liked like a little bit of like a do, or like a slow, like,
I don't. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that's catering to the NXT crowd or NXT UK crowd. The SmackDown people would not know what that meant. We never really saw Pete Dunne on SmackDown. That was like, it was like a little bit when he was the champ, but like not really. We didn't really see the bruiserweight outside of NXT. So I think the alluding to, the return of Pete Dunne is probably why they did that. I don't think it's a bad idea. I just mean, like, we have to think about his era in NXT is definitely not the crossover of audience, like, I think it is a little bit more now, but not then.
I think now, there's a lot more fans now, I would say, that watch both NXT and SmackDown, just the way the product's going. So in that sense, yes. And years ago, probably not. But I just, that would have been the cherry on top to this tease of a return. And I'm not saying like play a song and tease it that way, but like just little, like, the doon, like little slow beats to tease it, all would have been so perfect. And that's the way that they need to be doing more stuff like that. If you're gonna do cinema-esque backstage stuff, like what you're doing, like movie scenes essentially with the NXT, now bring it up to the main roster, you gotta have a Hollywood mind. You have to have a Hollywood mind, because a lot of wrestling fans are big movie people too, or big entertainment people in general. And the way, like, they want to be rewarded for watching. It's something that John Alba, a good friend of mine who does wrestling stuff, he preaches all the time about how the best wrestling promotions and the most successful ones are the best ones who reward the fans for watching. That's where Triple H has a better mind than Vince McMahon did in that regard. And now that if you want to make your stamp on what separates you from the old era, it's little stuff like that.
I'm just excited that we're finally gonna get a serious version of him again. It's
Oh my,
about time, you
he
know?
was so brutal. He was in
And
a good
it's
way brutal.
and it's like unfortunate in a way that the only reason why it's probably happening is because Sheamus is injured or something, and that's what's kept him out. And then obviously the Brawling Brutes kind of had ran their course. And so it's like, okay, we're going to move Ridge back down to NXT. And then that just kind of leaves Pete there by himself. But I mean, if that's what had to happen for this to happen, then I guess it is what it is. So I'm excited to see what they do. And I do think that they probably should keep him and Tyler together for a little bit before they just go
Oh,
full
you need
blown to solo single stuff for both of them.
Yeah,
But
1,000% agree. You need to keep them
I
paired
did
up
like too that he
perfectly.
said the Pretty Deadly stuff is behind him. Like he's done with it. I was like, thank you. It's time.
Yeah. Yeah, that was smart. For both. For
Yes.
both. They both need to move on.